Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're here with another episode of Hard to Guard, and today I have a very special, longtime friend, brother, family member, a good friend of mine who lived in New York City. We went to high school together, and then he went on to Maryland, graduated from Maryland, and then got married and moved to Arizona. My boy Eric Taylor, and he is the founder of Taylor to You Coaching. What's up, E?
How you doing, Edgar Burgos?
What's going on? Here. How you feel?
I'm feeling good, man. I can't complain. Eric Taylor, Taylor to You Coaching, amongst a gazillion things prelude to that. But
so let's talk about real quick. What is Taylor to You Coaching?
So Taylor to You Coaching is relationship coaching, helping people increase their self-love so then they can get themselves prepared for love and relationships, finding their soulmate. Chronic illness coaching, helping people being able to deal with and overcome chronic pain. There's so many of us, right, that suffer and sick. And I started this going through my own sickness that we can get into with valley fever. And I realized that Western medicine doesn't really help people, and people need other tools like a health plan, like medical astrology, and different alternatives of trying different things like I did, like leeches, right? Or lemons on your feet to help you heal. But also because I've gone through it, I can help people explain, right? And you know, chronic pain, like how to tell your loved ones, your spouse, your friends, your family members, your children, coworkers, your boss, right? That you're not like, because sometimes people can't visually see that you're sick. So then they're like, are you faking? And you're like, no, I'm freaking dying inside. You just can't see it. So my chronic illness plan helps people with that. And then also I'm an astrologer. So I've been doing a ton of birth charts for clients, for their children, grandchildren, and it breaks down every aspect of your life and just giving people major insight to understand and really get knowledge of self through the metaphysics and spirituality. I also do numerology as well. It's amazing.
So one of the things I've done my research on is that health and wellness now is becoming real popular more than ever, and it's becoming a multi-billion-dollar business.
Yes.
And astrology, it's different because you rarely see, especially a Black man, do astrology. And that's becoming a big business. And, you know, we always like meet people. And if we meet a girl or a woman, or, you know, usually in that conversation is like, hey, what's your sign? And we've always had this thing, me and you, about, you know, for years, be like, hey, what's her sign? And then you kind of try to break it down. This is before you was always in it, but now you're in debt in it.
Yeah.
Can you just talk about, like, you know, was that something you was always interested in?
You know, I don't know where it begun. I got into it when I was younger. You know, like I knew as a child, okay, I was a Virgo. My father was an Aries. My mother was a Taurus. My sister was a Libra. But, you know, growing up with a Baptist father and a Catholic mother, you know, it wasn't like a focus, you know. And then I got into it a little bit more in college. And then I used it almost as I don't want to say a weapon, but when I was single and I was acting in New York and doing television and film, I started to learn astrology so much that when I would meet a woman and I knew her sign, then I knew how to speak to her, how to pull her in. And astrology is so deep in that sense that, right, there are parts of the body going from head to toe, like Aries, the ram, rules the head. Pisces, the fish, rules the feet. Well, there's also erogenous zones, right? You meet a Libra girl, you know, she, you know, likes a lower back massage, you know, it's just different things that you would find out. And I would learn about it over the years. And then I stepped away because in 1999, I moved out to California for a bit, pursuing acting, and connected with my half sister, London Taylor, rest in peace. And then I became a born again Christian. So then I was totally against astrology, right? And then over the years, with just more research and prayer and investigation, and then moving to Arizona and getting really sick, I got led back to it. And in the last 3 years, I've really been taking classes, studying, having my guru, astrology teacher, teach things to me. And really what sealed the deal for me, Edgar, was, and you know me, and anyone that really knows me knows, when I was 6 years old, unfortunately, my father was murdered in Harlem on 110th Street. And when I tell you, you can literally see my father's murder in my birth chart, not in my sister's, but in my birth chart. My astrology teacher, and it was like 15 students, right, across the world, like 4 Americans, you had Indonesia, Canada, like all these different people, right? We're all on a Zoom meeting, right, doing this class. And like a pin dropped, like everybody was just like, because it was literally in the chart in my 11th house where you could see the father was murdered by an adversary outside of a car. And you know what I mean? Like it was literal. Now, sometimes astrology, it can be metaphorical, symbolic. And sometimes in your chart, certain places or things or meanings are literal. And my father's murder was literally in my chart. And then after that, what could I question, right, Edgar? I mean, like, that's my life. My father was murdered outside of his car on 110th Street in Harlem with a gun by adversaries, right? You know what I mean? So it was literally Sun, Pluto, Mars, Mercury, in my 11th house, right, of friends, groups, and organizations. So, you know, it was an organization or maybe some friends that killed my dad. So, you know, that kind of, along with my studies, right, that kind of sealed, because I always knew I was a Virgo. I didn't know about the Capricorn moon and then my Scorpio rising. So to explain to everybody, right, so you know, Edgar, you're a Virgo, right? That's your sun sign. Your sun represents your father, represents your identity, your vitality, your ego, your personality, okay? Your moon, right, that is sort of very private. Everyone doesn't see your moon. When they meet you, they don't know. You're a Sagittarius moon, Edgar. They don't know that, right? The moon is for people that are your spouse, your children, your girlfriend, your family, your parents, because the moon is like inside the bedroom in your home. It's how you think, how you emotionally react. It's your emotional response to things, right? It's your sort of like Netflix and chill. It's inside the bedroom. So it's your thinking mind, it's your emotions, your sensitivity, your nurturing, because it's also your motherly love. The moon represents your mother and also family. And then the sun, yourself, ego, father. Then your rising sign ascendant, right? So let's say when you were born, right? The sun on the eastern horizon, okay, was at Capricorn. For me, it was at Scorpio. So at the eastern horizon, your rising sign. So when you came out your mom's womb, like your first breath, your soul pops in your body, and that's your rising sign ascendant. That's your outer mask. So when people see me, they're going to say Scorpio. When people see you, they're going to say Capricorn, not Virgo. Okay, that's your outer mask, your physical appearance, but it sets up the whole 12 house zodiac wheel and puts house, you know, your signs in places and your planets in places that tell the story, the snapshot of when you were born at the exact time. You need to know your time. When you were born, how the universe was aligned, and it tells the story of your life. It is amazing. Scary amazing. It blows people away.
Yeah, sounds scary. Like, you know, we talk about it, but, you know, I'm always kind of curious. So my thing is like, can you talk about like some of the people that approach you about, you know, you doing their signs, and why is it so important to them?
So what I found, you're right, health and spirituality, and especially with the last 7 months with this whole experience we've been going through, right? People are looking for answers and looking for new answers. People are less trusting and seeing the lies through the Me Too movement, right? Through sort of financial structures, our government. They're feeling like none of this makes sense. It's all lies. None of it works. So people are seeking new knowledge, right? They're even seeing through the veil of some organized religion. They're like, well, wait a minute. How could people say that they're this, but then they treat people less than human? That doesn't add up, right? That's not real godly love. Mm-hmm. So now people are starting to seek out spirituality in the sense of astrology, numerology, different things like that. So I have a YouTube channel, right? Tailored to the number 2 letter U coaching on YouTube. And I get a lot of my clients through there. But it's kind of cool, right? Because it's not my friends, it's not family, it's total strangers. And so they only judge me on the content of the material that I am sharing, right? So I have to know what I'm saying if I'm talking about a Capricorn moon or a Scorpio ascendant. Mm-hmm. And so right now I'm well on my way. Like my page has been growing. I've got like all these subscribers. I'm almost headed towards 1,000 subscribers in a couple months. And a lot of my clients, what's awesome, I've had clients in Canada, and I've also now done over 22, 23 states. I've had clients in. So I've had, for example, I had a woman hit me up from South Dakota. And so I asked my clients, well, how did you find me? She said, through YouTube. I watched one of your videos. And I said, well, what made you choose me out of all these hundreds and thousands of astrologers? And she said, because I liked your energy, your vibe. You know, I put my hip hop music beats in the background. I'm just authentic and real. I'm just Eric, right? But she said, because I spoke about God and spirituality, and she was a Catholic, right? Devout Catholic. And she was like, and I try to explain to people it's not a sin. The 3 wise men, when they found baby Jesus, they used the stars to find him, right? The Jews used the lunar calendar, right? The moon is connected to the tides of the ocean, right? So the whole universe, everything is in perfect harmony. And it's kind of insulting God to only think only planet Earth matters, right? He created every planet, the whole solar system. Okay. So, it's been fascinating. And so because she was like, I was very much speaking about God, that's why she chose me. And so I've gone on to do her chart, her daughter's chart, her fiance's chart. Now they're married. And then she just reached back to me and I just did her sister's chart. So I'm also getting a lot of clients through word of mouth and the quality of my work. So what I do is a full 12-house report breaking down all of your 12 houses, your different planets, right? Going from the sun, moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and where they are placed in different houses and different signs, because that means something. It's telling the story of your life, and I do a 40 to 50 minute custom video that explains everything. So like an 8-year-old or a 10-year-old could understand it.
So I don't want to confuse
and you get a written report. This is just $150. It's a ton of work, and it's a game changer.
So I don't want to confuse people. So basically, you do this chart, which determines their past, pretty much, and
their future. Because I can tell you about your career. I can tell you about your destiny. I can tell you if you could be married more than once. Sometimes I can tell you the type of spouse you could marry. I can tell you about your childhood. Maybe I can see how many kids you could have or where you could meet your spouse. All that stuff is in the chart. I can tell you I've had clients who were molested. I could see that in the chart. I've had clients who they had a trauma when they were, straight, and then they came out being gay or lesbian and came out to their parents. That's in the chart.
So, how much do you enjoy doing this? And
Good.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how much do you enjoy doing this?
It's amazing because it's like I'm a therapist, a psychologist, right? It's not. It's giving the gift to people, and I wish that everybody would do this. For example, your 7th house in astrology shows where you could get, when or who you could marry. And it's the house of relationships, the other half, marriage, contracts, business, the marketplace, right? So what's so fascinating about that is that, for example, I had Saturn in my 7th house. I got married at 37. Well, Saturn brings limitations, restrictions, structure, organization, and delays wherever it is in your chart. So me getting married was delayed, right? Your Saturn returns between 28 and 30. Every human being should get their chart done. And I guarantee if everybody did, the divorce rate would go down, because most people shouldn't get married until your Saturn returns at 29, somewhere in there. And also, it's so funny, because I've done so much research, in your brain, your cerebral cortex is still forming between the ages of 25 and 32. So you're not an adult at 28, at 18. You're not an adult at 21. Women tend to have this form between 25 and 28. Men, it's more 27 to 32. And that coincides with what? Your Saturn returns.
Well, my
Saturn doesn't make any mistakes. So your brain is still forming. So you shouldn't even be in the military killing people, right? If you're not even really a functioning adult yet.
Well, I was going to say, my Saturn is lost someplace in the black hole. So
I got to double check your chart to see what Saturn is. But, you with the Capricorn rising, you're very focused on business. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, right? So there are going to be certain, you know what, though? It tells you when you have a Capricorn ascendant, you're going to live a long life. You're going to live a long life. The more disciplined and structured and organized you are, the more success you will have. Your Sagittarius moon in the 12th house speaks to being adventurous, passionate, fiery. You love knowledge and wisdom and big picture thinking. You're a big picture type of person inside in your mind and your emotional mind. And then your sun is in Virgo. Okay. And the sun in Virgo for you, it's in what? Cancer, Leo. It's in your 9th house. So that's in your father's teachings, your beliefs, your philosophies, right? So you're a very practical person. You're a very logical, analytical person. That's the Virgo sun, And when it's in the 9th house, it talks about how you view your belief system, your spirituality, right? Edgar is not like, oh yeah, let's light candles and burn incense. Edgar's more like practical, analytical, like, okay, let me see the science on that. Show it to me. Prove it to me. You know what I mean? And so, and it's very different, right? We're both Virgos, but my Virgo's in the 11th house. So it makes me more of a humanitarian, more thinking about like the collective, and stuff like that. So, but what's fascinating is that I think what I enjoy, this woman reached out to me on Facebook, and I guess we knew each other when we were children, and I didn't really remember her. She wanted to get a birth chart for her granddaughter, who was 1.5 years old. I did the chart, sent it to her, She hits me up 2 days later. She was like, oh my God, the parents were like crying. It was so amazing. They're so excited. Because I explained to them, because you can see for your children, right? You can help guide your children through pitfalls. For example, my 7-year-old twins got a Scorpio moon, Capricorn ascendant like you, and they're Leo suns. But it shows you in their chart, they have to be careful with the friends that they keep and not getting in cars and driving reckless or driving so fast. So then what do you do as a parent, right? You are going to have to guide your children as they age and get ready to drive and be like, listen, watch the friends you're hanging out with. Okay, I want to meet your friends. Let's not drive fast. There's just different practical things that you can help guide your children. Now, your kids don't listen to you, right? But as a parent, like now, dealing with their emotions, as Scorpio moons, they're emotionally intense. I got little 7-year-olds that are like, ah! And I'm like, whoa, chill out. But I know how to better deal with it. And it's made me a better parent. Straight up.
So when people, after you do their chart, how many times do they come back and all of a sudden you become like their therapist, kind of somebody you build a relationship with?
Well, so this is what I do, right? I have to be fair to myself because I can give away too much for free, right? It's a business. So I give them the chart, the custom video summary, and then I tell them that they can give me a call. We go over the chart and I tell them write down questions. Any questions they have, I go over it and I explain everything to them, you know. Then if they wanted to go further, I could talk to them about, for some people, if they've got health issues, and I've done this, chronic illness coaching. If they really want to, I had a client where they were really trying to find love. It wound up that they were going through a divorce and I was helping them sort of, one, increase their self-love. Because if you don't love yourself first, you can't love another human being. It's physically, spiritually impossible. And what happens is most human beings, we spend our 20s and 30s, what? Capitalistic system, society, the paper chase. We're trying to get established, make our money. But when we build up our wallets, we forget about our inner spiritual man and woman, right? We don't heal from our childhood. We don't forgive mom and dad. We don't deal with the inner pains. And you see these things in your 4th house, your 12th house, the 6th, 8th house, right? And so when I look at someone's chart, I can kind of see what happened from birth on, where they're at, and then where they could go. So I can sort of guide them and show them, okay, look, you've got to do this spiritual work so that you can evolve, transform, heal, get self-love, and then you'll be better prepared, right? Either through relationship coaching with me, I have an 11-week program, or in the chart, I can show them, okay, these are the types, right? Archetypes of a partner, right? But someone can hit me up. I also do synastry compatibility charts. So that takes your birthday and birth time in your chart, and then I would put it on top of your partner, right? You meet this girl and whatever, you guys fall in love. So then I take both of your charts and I put them together, and then it tells a story of how each chart and all the planets are communicating with each other. So I've helped couples through the synastry chart reading. That's separate from the full birth chart reading. I do that, help them go through and explain their relationship to them and where they have strengths, weaknesses, where they're going to have arguments and disagreements, where they have to understand and respect each other. You know what I mean? It's crazy. It's on point.
That's amazing.
It is amazing. Like I told this one person, I could tell that their child, I can see in your 2nd and 3rd house, I could tell their child had a learning disability. They didn't tell me that. I saw it in the chart and I explained it to them, and they're like, wow, I can't believe you knew that. You know, and I explained to them better ways for their child to learn. Their child needed to learn in private, but they needed to have quiet music in their headphones while they were learning. They were a visual learner. They learn more from pictures. So like I could see that in a chart, and I explained it to them, and it totally helped their kid out.
So once again, how do people get in contact with you? How much you charge?
So the best thing is
different situations. Do you charge something different for the health and wellness part, the astrology, all that?
Yeah, I've got. So I won't go into everything, but if you go to tailored, the number 2, the letter U, right? I customize everything for my clients. Tailored to you coaching.com. You can see my services and my prices. You can see videos, testimonials that are all 100% real on my website. If you just email me directly at tailoredtoyoucoaching@gmail.com, I can explain to you all my services, right? My compatibility, it's called a synastry chart for compatibility. That's $150. The full birth chart's $150. I do a mini birth chart. It's only $50, right? If you're
is there a conversation in the beginning, like just so people get you a feel out before all that
right
stuff?
So what I do exactly, so I will have them, they'll email me and I'll say, if you feel comfortable, because you got to realize sometimes it's complete strangers. So I tell them, if you feel comfortable, here's my number, give me a call or a text, because usually when I'm doing the chart with my clients, I like to speak with them to get some information. right? If you hit me up online, I would, like sometimes I would give people, especially for my coaching programs, I have a questionnaire that they would fill out. But for the astrology, what I will do is I will tell them, I will ask them, do you have any specific areas you want to focus on? Most people want to know about two things, right? My money and my love, relationships and career. That's what most people care about, right? So I have just recently started. So this is what I was going to say. I just started. So I have a mini birth chart that is your sun sign. It's called Big Three in astrology. And I started a new thing at Twitter. You can hit me up at Big Three Astrology. It's the sun sign, the moon sign, and the rising sign, which is your ascendant. And I do a mini chart, just $50, and I do a little video explaining the meaning of those three places, okay? And what they call the part of fortune in astrology. That's the combination of those three energies. It will, let's say, so like I told you, I'm a Virgo sun, Scorpio moon, Capricorn moon, Scorpio rising. My part of fortune happens to be in Pisces in my 5th house. So that's different from those other places, right? So it's sort of, the part of fortune is where your soul shines brightest, usually after 30 years old. So I put that in as well in this mini birth chart reading, and people get a lot from that. And I tell them, if you're unsure and you just want to get your feet wet in astrology, that's a good thing to do. If you just want relationships and career, that's $75, right? I do a mini chart just for relationships and career. And for everyone, I need your birth time, location, date, year, city, state, and all that. And they just email me, and then we get going. So what I like to find out, right? Like, did you grow up with both your parents in your home? How many siblings do you have? Are you married? How many times have you been married? Depending on people's ages, right? I had a woman who's on her 3rd marriage. And I could see, and what's so fascinating in the chart, and I just recently had learned this, right? I'm always learning and studying, right? You can learn, and there's different aspects of astrology. There's also, I do Western tropical, and I use the whole sign system. There's Placidus, but there's also from India, it's more ancient, right? Astrology has been around over 6,000 years. It's older than all the religions. It's the first calendar. Vedic astrology, which I use concepts of it, I don't know it yet. I have to study it, right? And take classes. But in Vedic astrology, they only go from like the sun to Saturn. They don't do the outer planets. Outer planets are Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Okay. So, there's so many things. And so, for example, I do mini charts also, only $35 a piece. If you just want to know about love and relationships, right? $35. If you just want to know about work and career, $35. And so I can see, right, for your career, I can look at your 2nd, 3rd, 7th, 10th, 11th house, and that tells me the story of your work and your career.
So where do you see this going for you within the next 3 to 5 years?
Well, right now I'm designing courses online. So I'm going to start by teaching probably mid-November, online courses, introduction, like up to basic astrology, teaching people, because a lot of people want to learn. They don't want to just get a birth chart. They want to learn about astrology and learn about what does this all mean, right? And so I'm going to teach a class of basic astrology where it breaks down the 12 houses, breaks down the 12 signs, breaks down the planets. And so that way they understand sort of the story at a basic level. Then after I do that for a while, I'll build up and do like the next level intermediate, where I start getting into transits and aspects. For example, transits. Friday, October 16th, there's a new moon in Libra. The full moon was back on October 2nd. Right now, Mars is in Aries. This is a very explosive week of energy, right? You see all this energy and all the stuff going on, right? You've got Saturn, Jupiter, and Pluto in Capricorn, right? They've been there. That's what brought up the financial issues. That's what brought up the Me Too movement, right? Like when the whole thing went down with the Washington team in football, I knew that was going to come up because Saturn had left Capricorn and gone into Aquarius for a couple months. and then it retrograded back into Capricorn, which was for the Me Too. And I said, and I knew that something was going, I didn't know it'd be in sports, but I knew somewhere, someone famous, right? And what happened with the Washington team of football? They came out with Daniel Snyder and all these execs, right? Talking about that the women were, being sexually, mistreated and verbally or sexually abused at work, or, just disrespected as women, right? And so you can see this stuff on a global scale. Same thing with Corona. I knew back in late January, early February that it was coming here because I looked at China's chart. You could look at America's birth chart. You could look at birth charts and start to study famous people, right? If they have their time. And so there's a great website. There's cafeastrology.com or astro.com, and they will give a grade and let you know if it's like an A or A plus. They let you know they have the exact birth time of certain famous people. Certain people, you don't know their chart, right? Like today, I was just doing my video for Venus and Aquarius. Venus and Aquarius, Ellen DeGeneres, Oprah Winfrey, LeBron James, Muhammad Ali. You see a theme with those people, right? They are about the collective. Venus and Aquarius is more about humanity. They're more about friends groups, being a leader, but not a selfish leader, inspiring others, right? A very scientific, logical, bizarre, unique, innovative mind. What do we think about LeBron James, right? What do they always brag about? His memory on the court, right? His innovation, the way that he's like a mixture of like Magic LeBron, Magic Michael, and Karl Malone, right? He's like this like power forward who plays small forward and point guard, right? And so that's sort of Venus and Aquarius in a nutshell. Mm-hmm. And so it's very fascinating that when you can see, like, for example, for athletes, I can see in someone's chart their athletic prowess, right? Because you can look in the 5th and 9th house. You can see their Jupiter. Jupiter rules the hips and thighs. So you can see how strong or athletic someone might be. The 3rd house rules athletic ability. So there's certain placements where you could see where people have different skills and talents. I can see great singers in their 2nd house. Their 2nd house is the throat and neck for singing, right? That's the ruler of Taurus, Venus. So there's just, it goes on and on. Like it is, I'm always amazed. I'm always blown away. And there's always these case studies to see of different human beings, right? Like if you look at like Muhammad Ali's chart or Kurt Cobain from Nirvana, right? With the supposed suicide, right? You can see different things in people's charts of their genius. Like Jimi Hendrix, you could see in his chart, like his musical genius of playing with his hands. His Mercury is the hand skills of playing the guitar. And that shows up in the chart. And even the downfall, the rise and fall of Prince, Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, it's in the chart.
So last question. What do you say to people who are skeptics with talking to an astrologer?
Well, I'll say this too. I'm also going to, in person, teach medical astrology to chiropractors, homeopathic doctors, naturopaths, and acupuncturists. So before COVID started, I was designing a program with my acupuncturist down in Tempe, Arizona, that I was going to be teaching. And so now I'm probably going to be doing it down in multiple places, yoga studio, and an acupuncturist office, and then also the Soul Center, really great place in Mesa, Arizona. So I'm going to be teaching medical astrology, which is fascinating because each planet rules different like body parts, right? Like, for example, the sun, Leo. Sun rules Leo. It rules your heart, right? For us Virgos, that rules the nervous system and the intestines and the stomach, right? Virgos sometimes can have issues with digestion and their nerves. They can be anxious, right? Gemini, hands, wrists, shoulders, lungs. You know what I mean? That's Mercury. So there's all these like cool things. And so what I would say to somebody is, I think about the teachings of Bruce Lee, right? Bruce Lee had like taught about and would try to explain to people, don't push information away because you know nothing about it, right? To just say, oh, that's stupid when you're ignorant towards it makes you look dumb, right? So you can't poo-poo something or discredit it when you haven't learned about it, right? You have to know it. Then after you know it, then you could say, it doesn't work for me. So I think when people are really spiritually and open to not, it's hard, right? Because we all have what we were taught, our parents. If you were raised Catholic or Buddhist or Muslim or Christian, you were taught that maybe astrology was a sin. So then you have to dig deeper and start to look back to what's the difference between religion and spirituality. Mm-hmm. What's the difference between, you know what I mean, like understanding higher knowledge and just being open, you know what I mean? Because like to me, I would say to someone, you explain to me how my father's murder is in my birth chart if astrology is not real. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, for me, I've got like that case study of a real life thing. And I can also see, you can see autism. You can see mental disorders. You can see diseases that are passed on through generations. I mean, all that stuff is there, man. So, I think I would just tell someone, why don't you give it a try? Don't worry about what you read in a daily horoscope. No, that's not astrology. Mm-hmm. Right? Because people will say, oh, I'm nothing like what they say. I'm not like that. I'm a different type of Libra. Well, yes, because guess what? In each sign, right, you're a Virgo, but you're a Virgo in August, right? You're the 30th, I'm September 10th. So in astrology, excuse me, in astrology, there's what they have different decans. So you're like the first decan of Virgo, right? I would be the second, and then there's the third. So what happens is, depending on in your chart, the degree that your sun sign is at, you can be a Virgo with more Taurus energy. You could be a Virgo with more Virgo energy, or you could be a Virgo with more Capricorn energy. And then it matters, like I said, your sun is in the 9th house. My sun's in the 11th house. Those houses tell different stories about how you view from your lens of your ego, identity, personality. Mm-hmm. So it's that detail. So of course, just reading a general horoscope in like your daily newspaper, no, it's not going to apply. Yeah, there's general things, right? Oh yeah, Virgos are picky. Oh, they're neat freaks. Oh, Virgo the virgin. Well, we all know Virgos aren't virgins, but the symbol of the Virgo is the woman having, because it's a mutable earth sign. It's having, because all the mutable signs, Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces all have duality to them. So Gemini has the twins. It's yin yang. It's male, female. Virgo, it's the virgin, but she's got the wheat, the food, and the herbs, the medicine, right? So a lot of Virgos are nurses or people that are healers, right? Or can heal humanity, connected to humanity. Then the Sagittarius, right? They have duality because they're the philosopher and then the big picture spiritual person. Because Sagittarius has got the archer and the horseman. And then Pisces has got the fish swimming two different ways. And they're ruled by Jupiter and Neptune. So, it's really, there's so much. And that's why I want to, teach it to people. But at the same time, I'm telling you, man, if I was president or God, I'd be like, look, everybody get married after 30, after your Saturn returns, then it will decrease the divorce rate. And then everybody get a birth chart, because when you flow with the energy of your chart, life just becomes easier, man. It becomes, I got to tell you, I'm in such a cool, comfortable spot right now. And right? See, we know each other. The last since my kids were, I was sick for like the last 5.5, 6, 7 years. When my kids were, before they were born, I started to get sick. And it was like my own internal Vietnam. And because it was this fungus called valley fever that's like in 6 states, right? In Arizona, Utah, Nevada, New Mexico, California, Washington, it's a fungus that comes from the soil. And a gust of wind went in my nose and mouth. And then I went on this journey that for 17 months, I couldn't get any help, nothing from any Western medicine doctor. They checked my lungs because that's where you look for with the valley fever. My lungs were fine. They went to my head and my neck. So I got my body was producing mucus like I had the flu every day. And I had so much joint and body ache pain, and my face was swollen. And I don't know if you remember, I was doing leeches, and I had to cut off all my hair, and I was doing garlic IVs, $185 a pop. I was doing radical stuff. And I remember one of my cousins on Facebook was like, "Wow, you're doing some real radical stuff." And I'm like, "Yeah, you know me. You think I want leeches on me? I'm Eric Taylor. You know me. I don't want no leeches on me. I'm that sick." That's how sick I was. And that's why I'm telling you, through that process, man, I've come to a place from transforming my health to eating mainly fruits and vegetables. For a while, I was vegan. Now I'm just a vegetarian. I don't eat any meat. I've reintroduced fish into my diet. I try to drink distilled water, right? Don't drink your water cold, room temperature, I mean, I do, different herbs. And this is stuff that I share with my clients in my chronic illness program, drinking like, different herbs, herbal teas, putting, lemon peels on your feet, doing this, doing that. I mean, I've got so many remedies and different things that I've done. And I was the guinea pig because I suffered. So I know what works.
Yeah.
And I've been taking care of my mother, who's a survivor of breast, brain cancer, and has dementia for 16 years. And what did I do? I taught severely disabled children 10 years in the Bronx. So I am a natural healer. I'm a caregiver. I am tailored to you coaching.
I appreciate you coming on.
And I'm a Steelers fan, baby. Let's go. Knicks and Steelers and Yankees.
People could go to
I want your audience to know I'm still Cro-Magnon man. I'm half like this evolved artist and actor and MC and writer and actor and all this stuff and the spirituality, but I'm still like, let's go. It's sports, baby. The Lakers and LeBron, you know what I'm saying? The Steelers 4-0.
We're not here to talk about
Edgar?
the Steelers, okay? Football season ended for me 2 weeks ago. All right.
Oh, I know it did. I'm so sorry, man. Listen, I'm very generous, and Steeler fans have big hearts. Let your people know. Your audience, tell anybody that if you have a Steeler fan in your life, they're a good person. You want to marry a Steeler man or a Steeler woman. They're good people. Steeler fans. You heard it here from Eric Taylor. Taylor to you, coach.
Go to Taylor to you coaching. And, and also you can find E on Twitter on the Big 3 Astrology.
At Big 3 Astrology, and also at Tailored to C. And I'm on Instagram and Facebook. Please like and subscribe, follow my pages, and just reach out to me. Because you know what? Right now, and I got to be honest, like during this whole thing, people are suffering. So, I know like if people are having financial issues, you email me and talk to me. I've been working with some people because I know people are struggling financially. Some people have lost their jobs and they don't know what to do. And so I've actually helped people and helped guide them through the birth chart, through giving them ideas on how they can use their skills and talents for a new career path. Because I can look at your North Node and show you like where your soul's destiny is and where you will be at your highest vibration and where you will have success. So there's a lot, man. And I, you know me, I got a big heart, but I'm always willing to help people. So don't be scared. Don't be afraid to reach out. You want to reach out to Edgar first. He'll let you know I don't bite. I ain't going to hurt nobody. And I keep everything private with my clients. I'm very professional. And I break it down for you so that literally, seriously, that you really will understand what it all means. And what's great, you have a written report and you have videos So 3 months from now, 6 years from now, you can say, what does it mean to have my Mercury in Taurus in the 5th house? You go read what I wrote, you click the video, and you're like, oh yeah, okay. That means I'm supposed to learn, about make money through my hobbies. And I could be this artist in interior decorating, or I could event plan, or I'm a designer and I could use my skill. You know what I mean? So it really helps you in a practical way. And I implore you, try it. Don't poo-poo or hate on it just because someone told you that in a religion that it was a sin. I promise you, as a Christian, I haven't stopped loving Jesus. I'm just evolving and morphing and growing, and I want to elevate and inspire other people as well to this ancient knowledge that, I'll say this. Look at your dollar bill tonight. Look at your money. It says, "In God we trust." Do you see a cross on it, or do you see a pyramid from ancient Kemet? The all-I-seeing pyramid with where astrology was at. So they're telling you, the American government is telling you what the truth is. So just think for a little bit. All right. Your boy is deep. So just put some science and your mentals on that. You don't see a cross on your money, do you, Edgar?
No.
Okay. Thank you, man. This was fun. And I tell everybody, man, just stay positive out there. The energy is intense right now. So please do not argue with people. It's okay to walk away. It's okay to agree to disagree, and don't get into these arguments about politics and all that. It's not worth it. Stay positive, drink your water, try to pray, meditate. God bless, and be your best.
Peace out, bro.
All right, man. Thank you. Taylor 2 Coaching.